उसको नोटिफाई करिए कि हमें आपका घर इलीगल फाइंड किया, हमने इन्वेस्ट Hello students and welcome to another lecture, and the topic of this lecture is bulldozer justice, a threat to justice and human rights. ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है आजकल के ज़माने में। जैसे ही आप स्टेट से कॉन्ट्रवीन करते हैं किसी भी पॉलिसी पे, किसी भी लॉ पे, आपके घर पे बुलडोजर चला दिया जाता है। दिस इशू इज सो मच बियॉन्ड द स्कोप ऑफ लॉ के हाउ कैन, क्या इसके ऊपर कोई लॉ है कि द स्टेट हैज द पावर टू एनक्रोच अपॉन योर प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी, जबकि राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी आपका एक राइट है जो कि ओरिजिनली एक फंडामेंटल राइट था, बट अब तो नहीं है वो फंडामेंटल राइट, बट इट इज अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट, इट इज अ लीगल राइट अंडर आर्टिकल 300A ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया। तो क्या ये बुलडोजर जस्टिस इन अकॉर्डेंस विद द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, इन अकॉर्डेंस विद द प्रोसेस ऑफ लॉ है या नहीं है? हम इस चीज को इस आर्टिकल में देखते हैं। Bulldozer justice, a threat to justice and human rights. Once again, the door of the Supreme Court has been knocked against the bulldozer justice or instant justice, which is being carried by some states. Justice B.R. Gavai, leading a division bench with Justice K.V. Vishwanathan, stated that the law does not allow for the demolition of anyone's home simply on the suspicion that the person is accused of a crime, and it can also not happen in the case of a conviction. The bench has expressed its intention to establish consistent guidelines for demolishing illegal constructions to prevent any misuse of municipal rules. The state is misusing some municipal rules. It is simply stating that मिसयूज करने के, आप देखिए इलीगल इंक्रोचमेंट है, इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन है, म्युनिसिपल रूल्स के अकॉर्डिंग स्टेट के पास पावर है, वो उसको एनक्रोच कर सकती है, बट इलीगल इंक्रोचमेंट के नाम पर सही प्रॉपर्टीज को, जो लीगल प्रॉपर्टीज हैं, उनको भी डिमोलिश कर देना, पूरे पूरे घर तोड़ देना, दिस इज नॉट राइट। उसके लिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ऑलरेडी स्टेटेड दैट लॉ डज नॉट अलाउ फॉर द डिमोलिशन ऑफ एनीवन्स होम सिंपली ऑन द सस्पिशन, सिर्फ शक की बुनियाद के ऊपर, that the person is accused of a crime and it can also not happen in the case of a conviction. आप इमेजिन कर सकते हैं कितनी तकलीफ होती है, कितना पेनफुल है ये कि किसी का बना बनाया घर, जो उसने अपनी पूरी जिंदगी मेहनत करके पैसा कमा के बनाया था, उसको तोड़ दिया जाए उसकी आंखों के सामने विद इन मिनट्स। दिस इज रियली पेनफुल, ये गलत है। The bench has expressed its intention to establish consistent guidelines for demolishing illegal constructions to prevent any misuse of municipal rules. Collective punishment unjustified. When the government demolishes the houses of the accused before they are declared guilty by a court of law, it violates the fundamental principles of the justice system. Bulldozing the homes of the accused without giving them a chance to defend themselves and without proving their guilt goes against the principles of natural justice, innocent until proven guilty, and odi alteram partem, which states that everyone is innocent until proven guilty by the last court of the country. By the last court of the country. See, एवरीवन, आप सस्पिशन है, शक है, ये बेसिक प्रिंसिपल ऑफ लॉ है, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ नेचुरल जस्टिस है, दैट एवरीवन इज प्रिज्यूम्ड टू बी गिल्टी and I'm sorry, everyone is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty by court of law. Okay, so bulldozing the homes of the accused without giving them a chance to defend themselves and without proving their guilt goes against the principles of natural justice. Innocent until proven guilty, and odi alteram partem. Odi alteram partem means right to be heard. I should write this here. Odi alteram partem means right to be heard. Okay, which states that everyone is innocent until proven guilty by the last court of the country. Now coming to the concept of collective punishment is not recognized by the Constitution of India or any civilized society के सब घर वालों को एक punishment दे दिया जाए. ऐसे नहीं होता है. Collective punishment. The government cannot simply shrug off by saying that if a person has committed an offense in retaliation, I will commit another offense of bulldozing the houses of the accused person. After all, states are governed by the rule of law, and in law there is no such term in the entire jurisprudence as bulldozer justice. Article 300A of the Constitution states, no person shall be deprived of their property except by authority of the law. ये 300A है. No person shall be deprived of their property except by authority of the law. Therefore, a person cannot be deprived of their movable and immovable property except with the authority of the law. Except with the authority. You, जैसे आर्टिकल 21 में हम पढ़ते हैं ना, except according to the procedure established by law, ऐसे ही यहाँ except according to the authority of the law. ओके, अथॉरिटी ऑफ द लॉ है आपके पास तो आप कर सकते हैं, बट सस्पिशन के पास, सस्पिशन के ग्राउंड्स के ऊपर बुलडोज करना, ये अथॉरिटी आपके पास नहीं है. KT Plantation Private Limited versus the state of Karnataka. The Honorable Court held that the legislation providing for deprivation of property under Article 300A must be just, fair and reasonable as understood in terms of Article 14, 19, 26 and 30. Demolitions are only permissible under certain circumstances in municipal laws which are governed by the laws of the state. Proper procedures must be followed before any demolition can take place. Article 87(3) of the Geneva Convention expressly prohibits collective punishments. As a result, these demolitions are seen as a violation of Article 87(3) of the Geneva Convention, as well as a violation of Article 51 Clause 3 of the Constitution of India, which states that India is under an obligation to respect international treaties and laws. India is a signatory to the Geneva Convention, and it is a clear violation of Article 87 Clause 3 of the Geneva Convention, and it is also a clear violation of Article 51 Clause 3 of the Constitution of India, which says that India is under an obligation to respect international treaties and laws. Okay, now coming to the landmark case of Olga Tellis and others versus Bombay Municipal Corporation and others, right to shelter यहां पे रिकॉग्नाइज हुआ था, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने रिकॉग्नाइज किया था. The Supreme Court unequivocally established that the right to life enshrined in Article 21 of the Constitution inherently encompasses not only the right to life but also the right to livelihood, shelter and a dignified life. The court emphatically declared that any infringement upon one's livelihood without due process is a violation of constitutional rights. So Olga Tellis is a very landmark judgment. It's a clear violation of Olga Tellis judgment. Then in the case of Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India 1978, the Honorable Supreme Court held that the phrase used in Article 21 is procedure established by law instead of due process of law. This means that the procedures must be free from arbitrariness and irrationality. In simpler terms, this means that the procedures should be just, fair and non-arbitrary. Arbitrary means without the sanction of law, without due process of law, without the recognition of law. Okay, just, fair and reasonable होने चाहिए एकदम. Then coming to, if a person is accused or charged with certain offenses and there is a law that specifies the punishment only, that prescribed punishment is permissible under the law, the court does not have the power to impose a punishment other than what has been justified under the law. Therefore, merely on the basis of some apprehension that the accused is guilty of the crime, the government cannot demolish their homes in the name of instant justice. Bulldozer justice takes away the entire plethora of laws that are there to protect the citizens. So, recently the Supreme Court has issued these guidelines to make sure that bulldozer injustice, not bulldozer justice, bulldozer injustice should not take place. Okay, justice at what cost? किस cost के ऊपर हम justice provide कर रहे हैं? Justice की कोई cost नहीं होती है. Justice हक है, हर इंसान का हक है और उसके लिए कोई cost देने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है. Justice at what cost? India's judicial system operates on the principle that no innocent person should ever be held guilty for something they have not done. There are various laws and regulations that govern illegal construction. If the construction is illegal, then it must be demolished. However, the government cannot simply walk in and demolish the house without providing the accused with the opportunity to exhaust all available legal remedies. Before demolishing any property, the proper judicial and executive processes must be followed. रूल्स हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपको नोटिस इश्यू करना चाहिए. सबसे पहले आप उसको नोटिफाई करिए कि हमें आपका घर इलीगल फाइंड किया है, हमने इन्वेस्टिगेट किया और हमने पाया कि आपका जो घर है वो इलीगल जमीन के ऊपर बना हुआ है, तो हम इसको बुलडोज कर देंगे। या तो आप इसको खाली कर दीजिए और हाँ खाली कर दीजिए, हम कहीं और जाके घर बना लीजिए, कुछ भी करिए, आप उसको नोटिफाई तो करिए। एकदम से म्युनिसिपैलिटी वाले आते हैं और वो बुलडोजर साथ लाते हैं और साथ में वो एकदम बुलडोज कर दिया घर ले जाके। दिस इज नॉट हाउ justice is delivered. Many years back, the apex court observed that justice delayed is justice denied. People often celebrate instant justice, believing that it brings about fairness. देखिए इतना जस्ट दोनों ही बातें, जस्टिस हरीड इज जस्टिस बरीड, जस्टिस डिलेड इज जस्टिस डिनाइड, मतलब दोनों सिचुएशन में सुकून नहीं है। जस्टिस हरीड हो गया तो जल्दी जस्टिस हो गया तो जस्टिस बरीड हो गया, जस्टिस डिलेड हो गया तो जस्टिस डिनाइड हो गया। तो फिर फायदा किस, देखिए एक रीजनेबल टाइम के अंदर जस्टिस हो जाए, इतनी जल्दी भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि आज ही पता चला और शाम तक बुलडोजर चल जाए। तो जस्टिस हरीड इज जस्टिस बरीड, कोई गलती भी हो सकती है, एटलीस्ट प्रॉपर फेयरनेस तो होनी चाहिए। द गवर्नमेंट में सीक टू डिलीवर इंस्टेंट जस्टिस टू क्रिएट द इल्यूजन इन द पब्लिक्स माइंड दैट जस्टिस हैज बीन सर्व्ड प्रॉम्प्टली। However, there is a problem. If the government demolishes a person's house based solely on suspicion and then the person is later acquitted in court, what does the government do in such a case, considering that bulldozing something is an irreversible act? Obviously, it is an irreversible act. Once capital punishment की तरह है, एक बार आपने बुलडोजर चला दिया, फिर तो उसका घर कितना बर्बादी होगी, आप कितना ही कंपनसेट करने की कोशिश करें, लेकिन जो तकलीफ उन्होंने उठाई है, जो लॉसेस हुए वो तो हो गए ना, फॉर एवर के लिए हो गए ना। अब आप उसको ये तो नहीं कर सकते कि आपने उठाया और सब चीज कंपनसेट कर दी, अगर उसके 4 दिन भी बर्बाद हुए तो वो 4 दिन तो आप उसके लौटा नहीं सकते ना, राइट? जब पेन उसको हुआ है वो तो आप नहीं लौटा सकते। समथिंग इज एन इरिवर्सिबल एक्ट, द स्टेट ऑफन गेट्स कैरीड अवे विद इमोशन, समटाइम्स mirroring criminal behavior. Homes are needlessly demolished without consideration for the innocent family members who may have no involvement in the offense. India is a country where even those who commit the rarest of crimes have the right to a fair trial. At least rarest of the crimes, the most heinous offenders also gets a fair trial in this country, and not a person who is under suspicion of having constructed his house on an illegal land. His house is just bulldozed on a mere grounds of suspicion. This is injustice. Even Kassab had the opportunity for a fair trial in this country. At least बुला के पूछो तो सही, उसको बताओ तो सही. Let him keep his point. Let him explain how he bought this land and how he built the house. Perhaps he might have known, he must not have known it, that the land is an illegal occupation. India has a complete set of laws to deal with criminal acts. The state can't behave like a criminal. The state cannot appropriate draconian powers to itself under the facade of dispensing justice. Providing justice is the sole domain of the judiciary. Okay. Providing justice is the sole domain of the judiciary and should not be taken over by the state under any circumstances. Although the Indian constitution is framed in a way that the state cannot take away from a judge the right to decide whether to award punishment, which punishment to award is the sole domain of the judiciary. Before demolishing homes, the state must ponder the irreversible consequences and the irretrievable losses. Some wounds may never heal and some losses can never be restored. So that is all about bulldozer injustice. Thank you.